What's going on, Red Wings fans? I hope you're enjoying viewing some of these classic Red Wings games like I know I am. We're going to continue some of the conversations we've been having with Red Wings alumni, and today I am so excited to welcome Niklas Kronwall. Nick, thank you so much for joining me today. And I wish we could be seeing you in person, but it's still great to see you virtually. How are you holding up during all this quarantine and isolation stuff?
We're good. Thanks for having me on, first of all. No, things are as good as they can be. The situation is what it is, and you try to do whatever you can to follow all the guidelines and whatnot. Of course, you miss seeing people in general, but we still try to make it out every once in a while with the kids, trying to activate them, taking bike rides and whatnot, just around the neighborhood. I think we're fortunate to be in a spot where things are somewhat okay. I think there's a lot of people out there that have it way worse than we do.
Definitely. It's actually been great so far when it comes to the stuff that we've been doing for the Red Wings, bringing some great content. And I know fans are really, really enjoying these classic games. So we're going to get to talking about that in just a minute. But my first question for you is, how are you adjusting to your new role as an advisor to the general manager? I mean, it's got to be a weird transition from being a player and then the next part of your career.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's been different in a lot of ways. I've learned a ton already. It's been way more fun actually than I thought it was going to be. Just being around these guys that I learned a lot from as a player. Now I get to learn a lot of the other side when it comes to the game from them as well. So, it's been actually a lot of fun this year. I had a lot of fun, learned a ton. So it's been actually pretty good.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. Almost a full year in your new role. So that's very exciting. And one thing last year, I remember when you did announce your retirement, you mentioned that the '08 Cup was super important to your career. Can you describe why it was so important?
Well, I don't know. I think anytime you win something like that, it's always going to be the peak of your career. I mean, it's the memories and just the feeling of going through it. Not just going through it, but also after everything was said and done. It's something that it's a special place in life that I'm going to cherish for the rest of my life. And you have a special bond with the guys that you went to battle with all through those games, through that whole season, really. So of course, I look back at my career as a player. That's always going to be the highlight of it all.
Let's talk specifically about the '08 final series. Yourself and Brad Stewart really set the physical tone in that series. Was this a specific part of your game plan, or do you like to think that's just how you and him play?
Well, I think it's always been a part of my game, and I think Stewie also very much enjoyed the physical part of the game, and that was if you look at up and down the roster, everyone has different jobs to do, and I think that's something that fell into our agenda and what we were supposed to bring to the team. So that's something we tried to do as much as possible each and every night.
Let's take a look specifically at game five, Nick. In that game at Joe Louis Arena, you guys fell to Pittsburgh 3-2 in overtime, and that made the series 3-2 still in favor of you guys. But you now had to head to Pittsburgh for game six, in which you did capture the cup. But heading out on the road has to be really hard during the final series. How did you guys keep under control and make sure that you were as composed as you could be in that game six?
Well, I will say that's something I will never forget, the feeling after that game. Um, Still to this day, just going back, there was no panic whatsoever. I think the feeling was just, well, we didn't win it now. Let's go win it in Pittsburgh. And that was really just there's no panic. Guys, just, all right, let's do it in Pitt. So, you know, I think it helped having guys like Nick and Chelly and these guys, Drapes, of course, Maltz, Aussie. Like these guys have done it before. They've been there before. That helped our younger guys a ton. Just keeping you know, don't get too high, don't get too low, like some of the guys always talked about. Like, we're fine. We're going to get the job done. Let's go do it in pit.
And Nick, I know this Stanley Cup was great for you personally, and this made you a member of an exclusive club called the Triple Gold Club. So that means you have an Olympic gold medal, a World Championship gold medal, and a Stanley Cup. That has to be something that you're really proud of.
No, absolutely. Of course, it's something I'm extremely proud of. But in saying that, again, I think it goes back to you're fortunate to be on the right team at the right time. And the players that you got to play with through the years, it's pretty spectacular. And that, more than anything, is something I'll be able to tell my kids, that I've played with some of these best players to ever play the game.
Again, Nick, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Take care.